Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron University. In this video, I'm going to give you a complete overview on the use of knee wraps. Before I get into this topic, if you guys have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. If you need coaching, I'd love to work with you. Check out the link down below. All right, so let's talk knee wraps. There's a lot of bad information as far as knee wraps goes. A lot of fear that using knee wraps will weaken the knees. I'm going to touch on in this video who should consider using knee wraps and what some of the pros and cons are to using knee wraps. We're also going to talk about the difference between knee wraps. You have lighter knee wraps like these Gym Reapers, and you have thicker knee wraps like these Andersons, which I've probably had for 15 years. Now, stick around to the end. I'm going to show you a little bit of the difference between these knee wraps. Now, knee wraps are an often misunderstood training tool. It is my intention to provide a general overview and help you decide if knee wraps are right for you. Also, I want you guys to understand the pros and cons of using knee wraps and to help you select the right kind of knee wrap for your needs. All right, so why use knee wraps? Number one, they can provide support and stability. Number two, they can provide compression. They can increase blood flow to the area and also provide a feeling of tightness. This can add also a sense of mental support. You put that knee wrap on, you're feeling that compression. It can give you a little bit of mental boost or a little bit of extra mental confidence when you're doing squats or leg presses. And to varying degrees, depending on the knee wrap itself, it can provide some performance benefits. Knee wraps can also work to prevent injuries. Now, the knee wrap controversy, critics of knee wraps make a strong argument against them, stating that the over-reliance on knee wraps can weaken the muscles and connective tissue in and around the knee area. Now, I would say the biggest caution from my experience is if you are using knee wraps for a long period of time and you decide just to take them off and continue using the same amount of weight. In my experience, there can be some weakening of the knees and connective tissue and the muscles in and around the knee. But if you continue to use a knee wrap, that's not really going to be an issue. When you just suddenly decide to take them off and try to use the same amount of weight, then you can run into some potential problems. I wouldn't let this caution against knee wraps scare you. If your knees are less than perfect and you feel you need mild support, then wear knee wraps. The only real danger, again, in my opinion, is if you have run them for a long period of time and you take them off. I was training with Donnie Thompson, who was at the time one of the strongest power lifters in the world. I had been using knee wraps for at least 7 to 8 years. When I started training with Donnie, he wanted me to take them off, and I was a little bit ignorant. I took them off, was using the same amount of weight, and I picked up some knee strains as a result. What I learned from all this is if you're going to take those knee wraps off, you better lower the weight and allow for a period where your knees and the muscles in and around the knees can re-strengthen. All right, who should consider knee wraps? If you have any concern at all about your knee health or your knees that might not feel like they're up to par, if you feel generally weak in the knees, if you just generally feel support might be of benefit, if you lack confidence and feel that support would give you a mental boost, or if you have some form of a knee condition where support might be helpful. Now, for you obese and morbidly obese individuals that want to do knee work and are placing extra stress on the knee joint because of your weight, knee wraps or mild knee wraps might be worth considering. Now, my experience with knee wraps, I've used them on and off for 16 to 17 years, probably on for about 14 to 15 years during that time. They have definitely provided support and have made a difference, and I can notice it mostly when I have some sort of a knee pain or knee issue. A couple years ago, I picked up a random knee issue just walking down the steps to take my dogs out. I picked up inflammation of my left knee, and it just persisted forever, what seemed like forever, for about 8 months. And I could not really do any squat work or any real leg work Slowly over time, as the condition improved, I started to introduce leg work, and I can notice a big difference in my performance when I use knee wraps. Knee wraps can be extremely tedious because you have to take them off after each set and you have to re-wrap for each subsequent set. This can really stretch out your time in gym and make the use of knee wraps just feel extremely tedious. Now, I'm going to get into the different types of knee wraps and why using a thinner, lighter knee wrap might mitigate this just to a slight degree. Now, to dumb things down, you basically have two types of knee wraps. This is a heavier wrap like the Anderson wrap, and I'm going to talk about a lighter wrap, which is the Gym Reaper. This one happens to have Velcro, which I kind of like, and I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of these things. The Anderson wrap or the stiffer wrap, these are much stiffer. It takes a lot of effort to stretch these things out. They're extremely durable. This pair I think I've had for almost 15 years, at least 12 years, and they still wrap just almost like they did the day I got them. You have to wrap them fairly tight to get complete coverage. I have to really make a concerted effort to get these things around my knees 6 times. And guys that are competing in powerlifting or training for powerlifting, they'll get it around even more than 6 times. They'll wrap these things so tight, they'll get them around 7, 8, 9, 10 times. I don't have that kind of patience. Now, there are also degrees of stiffness. If you go over to the Anderson site or anyone else that sells these heavy type of wraps, there are some lighter heavy wraps. These aren't as light as the Gym Reapers, but they're a little bit less tense or a little bit less stiff, if that makes sense. Now, these knee wraps, the Anderson wraps, come in 2, 2.5, and 3 meters. I wouldn't go with the 2 meters. These are the 2.5s. They're hard enough to get wrapped around your knees, especially if you're a wrap newbie. So start with something in the middle, about 2.5, and if you're unsure, step up to the 3-meter game. There's really no downside to it. You're going to have to wrap these things anyway, but you want to go a little bit on the longer side rather than the shorter side, especially if you don't have much experience. Now, for most of you, I'd recommend something like these Gym Reapers. These are a lot lighter and a lot easier to pull apart. These actually have Velcro. My first experience with a Velcro wrap, and I got to tell you, I really like it. They don't feel as constricting and as tight on your knees, but they still provide enough support so you can feel that little bit of mental and physical boost. Now, again, they're less forgiving. They're less tight. You can really stretch these rather easily. But because of that, they're probably a little bit less durable and rugged. Would they last as long as these Anderson wraps? Probably not. Will you get a couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 decent years out of these wraps? You probably will. Now, because they are milder wraps, they are much easier to wrap. They provide slightly less support, but this is probably a good thing for the average gym lifter. You probably don't need that intense degree of support. They're going to be a little bit easier to wrap, and this is probably a good place for you to start. Now, one final note, these Anderson wraps, once you cinch these tight, they're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable on your knees. They're going to really be constricting, whereas these Gym Reapers are going to be far less intense, and they're going to feel a little bit more comfortable. You're not going to have the urgency after you finish a set of squats or leg press to get these suckers off. So comparison-wise, they're not that much difference in price range. They're really not that much different in how they look. They're about the same width, you can see. The only real difference is how tense this Anderson wrap is. You really, really have to make an effort to pull them apart. They're super stiff, and they'll be super constricting. If you're in it to win it for powerlifting, these things will provide a little bit of extra support in the hole and maybe give you a slight boost to your squat total. Do I use knee wraps on all knee exercises? I tend to use them on the big hitters. So if you have some sort of a knee condition or you feel that you need that kind of support to wear knee wraps, you could use them on leg press, you could use them on hack squats, not just barbell squats. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you have any experience with knee wraps? If so, what kind of knee wrap do you use? Thanks for watching Massive Iron University. Have a great day.